everyone, it's Kathleen at Crafts by Kathleen. We finally have phones and internet, so I'm able to go on live now and do the videos and start using our content studio that we're so excited to have at this new location. And I have a stadium card here. So 2 weeks ago we did a stadium card using Gina K's little sea creatures here. Aren't they cute? We use this for Card Social. So Card Social is something that we do once a month, and we have a different card each month that we do, and it's usually a fun fold card. It's kind of like Cards and Coffee on steroids. You have a longer time and a lot more detail to work with. So we did this stadium card, so I wanted to recreate it, showing you that you don't have to use any one set of stamps and dies to make a stadium card. And this is the card itself, the base and everything is made without any dies. This is all freehand cut, and you can use what's in your stash. So I love being able to go back and recreate cards and show you that it doesn't have to be any one certain type of card for you to make. You can go into your stash, grab any stamps and dies that you choose to make this card into, and you'll see this one's kind of an under the sea theme, and this one here, it even has a little awning on it so that you've got it done in brick so that it looks kind of like a building. So I really like this card. I love this little set. This is the Ice Cream Social. So the Ice Cream Social is a really cute stamp and die set that came out probably 6 months or more ago. So we're getting ready to do some new big orders and waiting for some other orders to come in. So I'm going into my stash and I'm seeing what I have, and I'm creating some really cute cards. Or at least I think they're cute. I hope you think they are too. All right, so let's get to it and get this card put together. So I pre-cut everything and colored everything and stamped everything so that you didn't have to sit here and watch it like paint was drying. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through all of the instructions. Now I did list in the description all of the measurements and everything for this card. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is our card base. We cut it to 7 inches by 4 1/4, and then I scored it at 1.5 inches on each end. So there's a score mark there. Now there is a little bit of cutting that I'm going to do with you. Now these are our bridges. These are more white cardstock. This one's 5 inches by 2 inches. This one is 5 inches by 1.5 inches. And this one is 5 inches by 1 inch. And on all 3 of them, I scored them at 1/2 inch on both ends. So to put this together, we're going to need to do an angle cut here. So we're going to measure up 1 inch. So on my grid mark here, each one of these dark lines indicate 1 inch. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it to the edge, and I'm going to put just a little dot right there on the edge. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, just a little dot there. And then I'm going to get out my trimmer, and I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers trimmer that we sell here at the shop. Funniest thing, we can't, the blue blades, which are the US version, are sold out. So I bought the European version, the pink ones, and they cut just fine. So if you're ever stuck and you can't get the blue ones, we're carrying the pink ones right now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this little dot that we made 1 inch from the bottom, and we're going to cut to this top of the score mark. All right, so we're going to put this, I call this the cutting gully. This is where your blade runs down and does the cutting. So I'm going to put my dot there, and I'm going to put my score mark there, and I'm going to come down. Now I like to puncture my paper and cut up and down whenever I'm cutting not on a straight edge. That way I know that it's going to give me a cleaner cut. All right, now we're going to do exactly the same thing with the other side. We're going to put our score mark here and our dot in the cutting gully. Make sure they're lined up. It's a little hard to see. There we go. Okay. And then we're just just going to cut up, and then I'm going to erase my little dots. Okay. Just get these. Usually these erasers work really nice. Let me reach over here and see if I can't get a better eraser. There we go. Get that all cleaned up. Okay. All right. So now that's all of our white. I'm going to throw these corners out so I don't get them. All right. Now we're going to do the measurements for our pink. So we have our solid color. You don't have to use pink. You can use whatever color is going to match whatever it is that you're doing. So these are our mats. Our solid colors are going to be 2 pieces that are 4 1/8 by 3 7/8. That's going to be the front and back there. And then these are going to go on the bridges. We've got one piece that is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 by 7/8. Then we've got one piece that's 3 7/8 by 1 3/8, and 3 7/8 by 1 7/8. They're going to go on the bridges. They're going to mat the bridges. Then we've got the 2 sides. Now remember, the sides are what we just did the angle cut on. So we're going to have to angle cut these sides. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to measure 1 inch. And it doesn't matter if it's the top or the bottom, left or the right, because these are the same on both sides. Okay? And we're going to do that same cut. And again, I like to puncture the paper, especially on these, because one side is just the corner. So we're going to put the dot in the cutting gully, and then we're going to put the opposite upper corner. All right? And then I'm going to puncture my paper, slide up and down. That's one. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to put the dot in the cutting gully and the upper corner. Get over there, buddy. All right. And then we're going to puncture the paper, slide up and down. Then let's erase our little dots. Throw away our little corners. Go. All right. Now, I might as well leave this here because I've got one more I got to cut. Now we've got, you can either use pattern paper. What I did was I took an oldie but a goodie, the brick stencil from Gina K, and I used this to go over more white cardstock and make it look like brick, because my goal is to make this look a little bit like a building. So I've got my 2 large pieces that are going to go on the front and back of the cardstock, or the card base. This is going to be 4 inches by 3 3/4. And then I've got my pieces that are going to go on my bridges. So this one here is 3 3/4 by 3/4. This one is 3 3/4 by 1 1/4 inch. And this one's 3 3/4 by 1 3/4 inch. Now these are the ones that are going to go on those sides. Now these, we have to be more meticulous in what we're doing as they cut, because one's going to go on the left and one's going to go on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my dots on the inside and cut to the outside. So on the inside here, I'm going to measure 1 inch and I'm going to put a dot. And then on the inside here, I'm going to measure 1 inch. Now I'm going to go from 4 and backtrack to 3. That gives me 1 inch. Now we're doing the same thing. We're going to cut from the dot to the opposite upper corner. Okay. We're going to throw this piece away. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to cut from the dot to the opposite upper corner. There we go. And that's all you have to do. And that's the card base and everything's all ready. We've got all of our mats all ready. I'm just going to erase my little dots there. All right, we can get rid of the trimmer now because we have nothing else to trim. Set that aside. Now we've got everything to put together. Now we want to put this together before we want to put all of the mats on before we glue this together, because if not, you might have a little bit of, this is still a smudgy mess. I don't like it. All right. You want to put all the mats on because of the way that it's going to go together. So I'm not happy with that little smudge there. So I'm going to make sure it goes on the inside. All right, so I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to varnish down all of my score lines here. Now, I make sure that everything lines up here. Even though your score line's on there, most people just want to fold on their score line and then wonder why sometimes it's not exactly right. It's because your score, those little gullies are a 1/16 of an inch. And every time you score something, you can be off a 1/16 of an inch. We'll add 2 of those together, that's an 1/8 of an inch. And then if you're doing something that's got 4 scores in it, that's a whole 1/4 of an inch you can be off. So I like to also not only go by my score lines, but also go along the edges and make sure everything's nice and straight. All right, so I've got my edges down here. Everything's nice and straight. Wait a minute, I lied to you. There we go. All right, now it's nice and straight. I'm going to varnish down my score line. All right, now this we're not really going to see now because the way that the bridges will be glued in there. All right, so that's that one, and then we're just going to do the same thing with our bridges. Make sure everything's nice and straight so that you don't have any issues with that, and varnish down your score lines. Okay, same thing with the second bridge. Get that nice and creased. You want nice crisp crease. The crisper your crease, the better put together your card looks. Okay. And we've got one more score line here. And an eyelash on there. Holy cow. All right. Okay. And one more. So my goal is to come on and do these live videos every morning before the shop opens, and then you can go back and watch them whenever you want. I will also be giving away cards in some of the videos. I might be giving away projects. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up here at the shop, so we're really excited. Our new line of paper should be coming out the second week of July. I'm super excited about that. All right, so now let's flatten out our bridges and let's glue down our my glue. I love this little Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse that I put on there. I did those for the expo that we went to in Orlando, so everyone would have one. And whoa, this is a little off here. Let's check this. Make sure it's 2 inches. This looks a little bigger than 2 inches. Oh well, it's 2.5 inches. That's why. We just need it to be 2 inches. I made them for everybody that went to the Orlando Expo with us, and everybody had a little gift bag that we put together. Yvonne and I and Kiara all put stuff in this little gift bag, and that was my contribution. That, and I made little Minnie Mouse earrings to go with our shirts that we had. But now we have a new address, so we need new shirts. All right, so we're going to put all of our mats onto our bridges here. Now next year, don't forget, if you want to go to that Orlando Expo, let us know, because we had 13 people that stayed all 3 days. Then we had 4 other people that came just for the day. So it was a really nice time. Some of us went out to eat at Red's Tavern in Orlando, Blake Sheldon's. It's Blake Sheldon's restaurant. And if you didn't want to leave the hotel, you didn't have to leave the hotel. We were connected right to the conference center, so it was a short walk over a little bridge. We didn't even have to Uber or pay for parking each day for the conference center or anything like that. It was really a lot of fun and very successful. We had a ball, and I can't thank the management there at the Rosen Center enough. They were so accommodating to us. We had this cute little area in the hotel lobby where we would meet every day, and we'd sit and craft, and the where we were was just this short hop, skip, and a jump down to where you went to cross over to go into the convention, into the expo. And then we had classes in the expo, and some people were hanging out by the pool. We just had a great time. All right, now we're going to put our bricks or your pattern paper or whatever it is that you decide on top of your first mat. So get that glued down. And get this one glued down. Aren't you glad I had all this cut out? You didn't have to sit and watch me do that. Sometimes watching things is like watching paint dry, I always say. And I didn't want to make it that way. And to be honest with you, this is the second one of these cards that I made because I didn't cut everything out for the first one. I was trying to do it, and it was like 2 hours long because I start talking too. So, all right, so now we're going to put our pink on the outside. So if you open it up and it's folding in, that's where that's going to go. So we're going to put the pink on the outside edges here. All right, get that on there. And then this one, it's going to glue down that way. On here, and you just want a little white border when you put your pink down. See, it's just a little white border. All right, now these larger ones, this is going to go on the outside and the inside. So make sure, because one side is 4 1/8, and one side is 3 7/8. So it almost looks like a square, but I can see that this is the 3 7/8 side, but I'm still going to dry fit it and make sure that I was correct, and I was. So I always say measure twice, cut once, you know that? Well, same thing. If you dry fit, you only have to worry about gluing it down once. And we're using our reptile glue, so we know how good that is. Down there. Let's flip it over and put this one on there, and again, let's dry fit it, make sure that I'm correct, and I am. All right, so that's all of the pink that goes on the base. Now we just have to put the brick on here. Now you're just going to put your brick exactly where your pink is, and the same thing with your brick. Remember, one's 4 inches and one's 3 3/4. So dry fit it and make sure you've got the right sides there, and I do. Sometimes things look almost like they'd be square, but they're not quite. That's why dry fitting it is always your best bet, just to double check and make sure you've got everything in the right direction. Plus, when I was cutting my pattern paper, I wanted to make sure my brick were going horizontally, so I made sure that when I cut it, that was going in the right direction. All right, take your bone folder and make sure it's all mashed down nice and tight. All right, so now these are going to go right in here. I'm going to put glue on here. These are the sides of our building. Now, anytime you're working with an angle, you may have a side that's just a little off. If you don't lay it exactly right, it's very hard to get your angles to have an exact border. And you'll see on mine, I'm never perfect, so don't stress yourself out about whether or not yours are perfect. Okay. There we go. All right. Now we're going to put our bridges in. So start in the back, and you're going to go right up against, let's see if I can show you. The edges here are going to go right up against your score line so that when this is glued down, it'll look like that. Okay, so it's a 1/2 inch. So this is 1.5 inches, and each one of these are a 1/2 inch. So the first one will be here, second one here, and third one there. So let's go ahead and get these glued in. So we're going to put our glue on these little glue tabs of our bridges. All right, and I'm going to slide this right up against there, and that'll put that right in the right spot. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to slide it right up against the score line, and that'll put that in the right spot. And then I like to go back and forth. I like to make sure that it's moving nice and that my glue is tucked down nice. So it goes back and forth nicely. So when you put this into an envelope, this is the 5.5 inch side, and this is your 4.25 inch side. So it is an A2 size card. All right, let's do this again. Let's put our middle bridge in. This is the 1.5 inch one. And again, your little glue tabs are exactly a 1/2 inch. So if you put this right up against there, these aren't as easy to do that way. There we go. We're going to put it right up against there and close down on it. And then we're going to bring this right in there and close down on it. Then use your bone folder and mash it down. Okay, make sure they're moving freely back and forth. All right, and then we just have our last one to do. This is the inch one. Just putting glue right here. All right, we're going to bring that down and back over, and then we're going to get this one in here. Make sure everything's even lined up at the bottom. You want it to be able to stand straight. Okay, move it back and forth. All right, and there's your stadium card. Look at that, 1, 2, 3 stadium steps. All right, so this is what it looks like from the inside. So they're all evenly placed. Now all we have to do is decorate it. So first thing I wanted to do is put this cute little awning in there, but look, it's just a little too big. Now, I was going to try to do it on an angle like this, which I possibly could. I kind of like that. Let me see. If I took a piece of cardstock and made myself a little triangle there. Let me just cut it. Let's go with 3 inches. All right, and then I'm gonna put this, fold it like this. All right, so this is what, 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm gonna give it another 3/4 of an inch. So that'll make 3 sections, but I need a little glue tab. So this little extra section here, I'm going to use as my glue tab. So I have 3/4 of an inch twice, and this will make 3 times, and then this will be a little 1/4 of an inch for my glue tab. So this will give me a triangle, and I want to see how that works. Let's give it a whirl here. All right. So if this works, it was 3 inches long. Score it at 3/4, 1.5 inches, and 2 3/4. An inch now. 3/4. Let me lay this down. 3/4, 1.5 inches, and 2 1/4. All right. Now we're going to glue that last little bit into a triangle, and we're going to place that in here, and let's see how that looks. Ah, I think that's it. I think that's what we did. All right, so let's just place that triangle right there at the top, and then that's going to give us a nice base for our awning to sit on. So let's put, remember, you always want to put glue on the smallest surface. So I'm going to put the glue on the triangle, and then I'm going to glue the awning right on there. And I'm going to give it a little bend, just so that when you put it in an envelope, it'll still flatten. But then when you take it out, it'll pop up. See how that works? Let's see, can I show you? See how that works? So we've got the triangle in there, and I gave it a little bend, and that makes it so that'll pop up when you, see when you close it to put it in the envelope, you'll still have the triangle in there, so when you open it, it'll pop right up. All right, now we're gonna decorate it. So I cut out these cute little ice cream cones. Let's put these together. I've cut out the cone itself and the ice cream, and I'm just going to glue the ice cream right to the top of the cone. And I thought these would look super cute on the sides of this card to make it look like an ice cream shop. So I'm going to put my glue right here on the ice cream cone. Okay, that's on one side. Then we're going to fold it down, and we're going to put the other ice cream cone on the other side. Okay. All right, so we've got an ice cream cone on each of the sides. Now we're going to, oh, I did an extra ice cream. Now we've got the little girl mouse, we've got our little boy mouse, we've got this cute little ice cream soda. Let's put that together. All right, now we can either do two different ice cream sodas and one chocolate and one strawberry. I think I'm going to stick with the one. All right, so I'm going to put my ice cream right here. I'm going to stick with one ice cream soda, so I'm going to make it a double decker. Strawberry and chocolate. Okay, put our strawberry scoop right on there. All right, so we've got our strawberry and chocolate ice cream soda. We're going to glue that in here. So we're going to put the little boy in first. He's going to go right up here. We're going to put him up at the top. So his little head's going to have to go underneath the awning. So let's get that glue right there on the bottom of him. All right. And put that right there. Just glue it down. Okay, so when it pops up, he's like inside the ice cream shop. And then we're going to put her on the second one, so she's kind of outside the ice cream shop. Right there. All right. And then I think what we're going to do is put this ice cream soda. Well, let's put the flowers on first, because I want to put the two little flowery things there. So let's see, we've got 2, 3, 4 pinks and 3 blues. So let's stick with 2 pinks down here. Here, you know what, we're going to put a blue here. And then we're going to get a pop dot and pop up that third pink. Or the second pink, that third flower. Okay. Put that right in the middle. And then that can get glued right there on the edge. How's that? Perfect. All right, and let's put the other one together. So we just put a little bit of glue across here. pink one on here, then this blue one, and then we'll pop up this pink one. All right. There we go. And then we can glue that on, and then that way we'll see how much room we've got to work with that little ice cream soda. All right, so we've got that there. Make sure they're even. Okay. All right, I think that that ice cream soda will look nice right there. So we're going to glue him on there. And then I'm just going to fold this down so that he's in the right spot. All right, what do we think? Isn't that cute? They look like they're at the ice cream shop. And there's plenty of room here for a sentiment, or you can put a sentiment up here like it's the name of the ice cream shop. And then this is the one that I put the awning to the back. But to put it to the back, I had to trim off one of these because see how it's wider. I kind of like them both. I don't know. Which do you like? Tell me in the comments below which one you like, and if you're going to recreate something like this. This is called a stadium card. Again, the directions are, all of the measurements are in the description box below or above. I'm not sure where it is. All right, I will talk to you soon, and thank you for hanging out with me this morning. If you're watching this on replay, please remember to give me a like and a follow, and I would really appreciate it. We also love Google reviews or Facebook reviews, so any place that you can give us a review, we appreciate it. All right, I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.